guys, so today we're going to work on heart pins, something really fun and pretty easy. Most of it's all hand sewing, and we're going to do some stamping with some little bits of fabric, but let's just get started. Okay, so some of the things you're going to need for this project, and then you can also switch and change depending on what you want to do or what you already have. You're going to need some sort of a stamp, and then decide whatever color ink you want to use, and then some fabric to stamp your stamp onto, and its backing. And then we used a little piece of 1.5 by 11 inch trim, and then some sari silk if you'd like, or ribbon, and some floss and a needle. And then also don't forget your little bit of cotton batting. And then for this project I just used some polyester cotton batting. So the first thing you're going to find is your stamp. I'm using one of my IOD stamps. I think you can see this here. And that's what I'm going to use to stamp my little pin with. And then you need a piece of fabric, and pick whatever color you want, and make sure your stamp is going to fit in there with just a little bit of outside border edge. You can see I did one in red and one in blue, but I'm going to do this one in blue and stamp it onto this fabric. Down really well so it gets into the fibers, and there we go. So after you've stamped your fabric, you're going to get a little piece of batting and a piece of backing fabric. It can be a different color or it can be the same, and you're going to sandwich them together like this, and then we're going to start stitching. What I'm going to use is floss, and you need to pick the color that you would like. I'm using one really close to the color of my fabric, and I'm just using 2 strands. I'm gonna make a little knot on the end, and what I'm gonna just do, this is all just a running stitch. And first of all, I'm just gonna run around the outside edge. So when you get to this point in the back, you've gone through all your layers, you're going to be at the bottom. What I do then, we're going to do a running stitch in the center now. So I'm just going to start at the bottom and just following the lines and the grain of the fabric, just do a running stitch just across the inside of your heart. If your heart's all the way filled in with ink, you can still go over that. It just depends on the pattern of heart stamp that you've used, and you're just going to go back and forth and just do little running stitches through it to give it a little dimension. So just bring your thread to the back and do a few stitches to keep it intact. And then just cut your thread. And now we're going to trim this little guy up. And I'm going to go maybe 1/8 inch from the edge of the last stitch around the outside edge. Doesn't need to be perfect. And depending on your stamp, it may be just a perfect heart, or like this one has a lot of other pieces added to it. So it's not just a heart shape. Just be sure not to cut your stitches. So now we're going to do our little edge around our heart pin. And all I did is cut a strip of fabric that I ripped on one end and cut it about a 1.5 inch by 11 inches. And I'm going to do a running stitch, and I'm going to use black thread just so I can show you what I'm doing. Let's have a little knot at the end here. Just pull your thread and you will have a cute little circle. You can decide how tight or how loose you want it. And then I'm just gonna tack stitch the two ends together, and then we'll reform our circle. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to iron this flat. So I just have a hot steam iron here. And at this point, if you don't like the way your circle looks, you can kind of trim around the outside a little. Nice and flat. Add my little heart right there. Now I am going to tack stitch the heart to the backing. So at this point now you can sew your pin back on or hot glue it to the back. And then on this one, we actually added some sari silk, but you could use any type of ribbon attached to the back as a tail, or just leave it as it is. So after you've made your fun hearts, put them on whatever you would like. And over here we did some fun heart tags and cards, so you could even use these for headers or little valentines, but just have fun.